Lyle Lovett walks up and strikes up a conversation with you, and you're just like, oh, that's a level of cool that I'll never understand and never be in my life. And you find yourself, like, I didn't mention that I was a musician, and then Rich introduced me to him. She's like, oh, she's an amazing singer. And I'm like, oh, right, I do sing. I do that. Cool. But, it's just easy to have a lot of self-doubt because you're just like, I'm swimming in a stew of greatness in this town all the time. And so you want to have self-confidence, but then I also I'm also always trying to make sure, am I good? Because it's hard to know.
Finally, we've made this happen. I know, right? Well, welcome. That's what I've been told, and I think I'm just going to continue to do it because everyone's having a good time doing it. So we are already rolling.
I love it.
We're
get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. What have you done today?
I slept in because I slept really poorly, and so I got my kid to school.
Okay.
And then I went back to sleep.
You went back to sleep.
Got up at 10:30.
Oh, good for you. I love that. See, my wife wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning because she's a nurse. Mm-hmm. And God bless her soul for that.
Yes.
But she is like a bulldozer going through the household. And I'm just like, all right, I'm awake. I'm just going to toss it. Yeah. And it happens every morning. And I feel like I've seen this on the internet, on the memes. Like, I am quiet as a house mouse when I come home late at night after a gig. Like, I'm making dinner, but I'm just ever so gently putting plates down. And then she's just a tornado through our house. Rightfully so, So
well,
I get it.
I feel like, is this, are we doing this podcast? This is a message.
Yeah. She doesn't listen anyway, so it's not a big deal.
Hunter and I are kind of like that too, though. He's a bit louder. He would probably argue that, though, if he were sitting here. So maybe I'm loud. I don't think I am, though.
Okay. Yeah, I try to be as quiet as possible, but man, talk about annoying things that your spouse does, and that's mine.
Yeah,
but,
well, that sounds pretty minimal.
Yeah, I know, right? If that's the worst case of what she does, then I think we're going to be okay.
I think so.
So have you fully recovered from the benefit?
I think so. The benefit was so beautiful.
It was. It was tough for me to enjoy because of the importance of it and why we were all there. But man, was it I don't know. It's just a beautiful thing to watch.
There were moments when same thing. That I would be so caught up in just the musicianship and the camaraderie and the beauty of the building. I mean, there's so many things to take in, and it was such a fast-moving day. I mean, my part in it was so minuscule compared to Andrea and Scrap and Pat and Jenny and all the people involved with Paramount. But being there all day and helping the side of production, I was doing some stage management. I would get lost in that, and then I would remember, right, we're here because a good friend of ours is really on an uphill battle, But yeah, it was amazing.
But man, look at the support that came out just for that cause. That is sold out building, amazing.
Which is a testament to him and the friendships that he has made and his efforts, in not only in the industry but in this community. And Austin's community, especially around their musicians, is so healthy and strong. I mean, I see it every week on Thursday with PAC.
I mean, talk about going into another subject. That is, I just saw my first PAC experience, or had my first PAC experience 2 weeks ago, and you gals know how to fill a house. My God. And that's a development over, 5 years, 6 years?
Yeah, we started at Seaboys, and it was just a jam.
Okay. Be sure to eat the mic.
Yeah. So we started at Seaboys, which was just meant to be a jam. Andrea McGee and at that time Ruby Dice were kind of doing this hey, we're going to have this rotating cast of characters, but it's going to be all female, and it's kind of like a statement, but it's also a jam. But we actually had Michael Davila on drums, though, so it wasn't exclusively female, and we occasionally would have, a player that, like Dave Scher or even Hunter or Nick or Dane Farnsworth on key. Anybody passing through would kind of hop up, and it was truly a jam, but meant to be more female focused. Well, over time, after that first iteration of it with Kelly and Paige and me and Andrea and Ruby, it was so successful that we were like, well, maybe we should do that again. So we did it again, and then it just kind of kept where it wasn't so much a rotating cast, but it was like the cast, And Ruby decided that she needed to kind of focus on her own career, and that this was kind of conflicting for her, and so she had to move on, and she's doing quite well. But then Violet Leah joined us, and it's been ever since COVID, when the world opened again. Saxon Pub invited us to their room, and we took the invitation. It's been really beautiful because that space has turned into more of like a living room environment, listening room. You know,
I think the key word there is listening. Especially y'all's fans, your fans in particular, they like to shush people, which I love. It's what's the saying? We give a shit.
Yeah, we give. Yeah, that was coined by Donna and I believe Brenda in the crowd. One night they just yelled that because we were thanking them for being such great listeners.
Right.
And she was like, "We give a shit," and I was like, that just stuck.
I'm fairly new. I mean, I've been in the music scene for about 2 to 3 years in the Austin music scene, but I've been doing video work for quite some time. But I've never had an experience like that where the crowd shushes people in the audience. Is that unique?
I feel, well, it must be, I feel like,
I've never heard it anywhere else.
Well, yeah, then I guess so. We're really spoiled
Yeah.
here. I will say I have, on a personal level with my band, when I perform, I'm a little bit different in the fact that I don't like to tell people to be quiet, but I will make it known that, like, I'll pause and I'll make it awkward for them. And so I think that part of that was already kind of known with certain members on stage. Mm-hmm. But then, yes, it did become its own thing within the fanship because they are there for Pac to have an experience and to, as much as we're like, it's definitely a transference of energy. It's kind of become like a church for some folks, I
was about to say that.
So they're serious about it, and like we aren't so serious in our demeanor and in our candor, but we are talking about real stuff and real emotions, and it's lighthearted, but it's also heavy, and they're serious about it,
Going on the lighthearted stuff, you improvised a line from, I believe it was Kelly's songs, Like a Mother.
Yeah.
What's the original line? I was playing it back.
That's what's so funny.
Like a
moth,
okay.
Like a moth, I flutter.
Okay.
And so Kelly decided to let us know what she's heard us say, kind of like a mother, And it never crossed my mind that we sounded like that. And so when she pointed it out before we were going to sing it that night, when we all heard it, we all fell apart because it really did sound like we were saying that. And no, like a moth, I flutter in the air.
And can be interpreted as like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Evidently it has been.
Which, like the true professionals you are, you composed yourself during the song and went back to singing it.
I'm not sure we're really truly professional up there half the time. I think that's part of the reason why people are endeared to us is because we're just this shy of pro,
Yeah, it's a great and lovely venue. How long have you been playing at the Saxon Pub? Because I heard over 10 years or something.
Personally?
Yeah, you.
Oh, so I've been playing there since I was 19.
Oh my God. Okay, I was way off. But I knew it was
for
some...
it's been a long time. So when I first played at the Saxon Pub, I was not an Austin resident yet. I lived in San Marcos, and I was going to college. Go Bobcats. And so...
Eat 'em up.
That's right. So I was 19. I had a band called Blue Funk Junction. We were a big band, 9 pieces. And, I played there very young and got chastised by the sound engineer, Love you, Richard Vanoy. He used to put those big fluffy wind protectors on the microphone, and I get very up and close and personal with my microphone when I perform, and it was kind of like bugging my mouth, and so mid-song I just ripped it off and tossed it. At 19, that was foolish. I shouldn't have treated someone else's property that way. But he just helped himself right on stage, picked it up, put it back on, and told me mid-song, "Don't you ever do that again." And I was just like,
"Oh my God,
welcome to the Saxon Pub." So yes, I'm a little bit more at home there now, but yeah, it's been a long time, and I used to bartend there as well.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that everyone is supposed to clear the room during the changeover from one band to the other. I was just lollygagging in there, and then one of the bartenders came up to me. I've never met her, but she was like, "You need to leave." I'm like, "But," and then I just saw everyone clear. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, bye."
Well, it's not always that way.
No, it's not.
That night, was it Madame Radar that night?
No, it was, I forgot the name of the band opening.
If it's a big ticket show where they have a lot of pre-sales, they will clear the room. But a lot of times it's cool to just meander. And a lot of times, especially when I was just getting my start there, if I was the 10 o'clock spot, which I always was because 8 o'clock is prime time, I would invite all the 8 o'clock ticket holders to stay.
Right.
And I would say, please don't worry about paying the cover. If you're here already, stay. And if you enjoy what you are hearing, please just tip the band. And it always worked in our favor. So, but yeah, it's not always that way, which is why it can be kind of tricky sometimes.
Yeah, that happens in comedy too. There was a show that worked last week where it was a packed house for one show, and then everyone got up and left. And I asked the guy who was running the next show, how come the other comic didn't establish, hey, go check out the next show because it's going to be awesome, blah, 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 just show some support there. And he's like, comics are different. I don't know why he didn't do that. When I have these types of shows, I do that to invite the audience to stay afterwards. I don't know. It's just kind of like a comic to comic thing. Is that kind of the case with the musicians?
Gosh, not that what I've experienced.
Because every time I go to the Saxon pub, I always heard like, hey, if you pay the cover, stay for the next show or something.
I've always been very fortunate. When I first started playing the Saxon pub, for whatever reason, I guess at first it was like Tuesday late nights. They used to have a midnight show. Used to go until 2, and I would play midnight a lot.
Oh man,
yeah. I mean, this is you're cutting your teeth.
Yeah, you got to earn your keep
for the young
sure.
and hungry.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I did a lot, and you're playing to like your best friends, some people that are drunk in the corner, and the staff. It wasn't the best, but you were in the room and you got to say that you played the Saxon pub. But then eventually I moved into the 10 o'clock spot on Thursdays, and Patrice Pike has held down that residency, the 8 o'clock spot, for years now. And she started to endorse me.
Oh,
she
awesome.
started to say, hey, stay. This girl, Cari Hudson, can, she would say whatever nice things. And so her fans stayed because she stayed. And it slowly helped me build a following. I owe a lot to Patrice.
Yeah.
And she's quite the mentor for me, but has become a friend. And which I could have never imagined being a 20-something. And I still look up to her and her band. Sister Seven was such a huge band for me back in the college days, and she's just continually just incredible.
Yeah. Talk to me in the San Marcos. Is that where you grew up? Is that where you're born and raised?
No,
where you born and raised?
Marine Corps brat. So
okay.
I don't really have a hometown. I would say I mostly grew up in Southern California.
Oh, okay.
My dad was stationed in 29 Palms when I was very little. We moved to Okinawa, Japan for 2 years. And then I lived in Austin for 1 year with the grandparents while my parents went back to Southern California to find a house. Like they had to get us in the school system or they were going to be up, with things were going to get messed up. So 3rd grade, I went to Manor Elementary and lived with my grandparents. My brother went to Manor School as well, and then 4th grade back to Southern California, and we lived there, stationed at Camp Pendleton. So the little town we lived in was called Fallbrook, a little avocado grove town, really sweet little spot.
I'm from Riverside, California.
So not far from there at all.
All right.
Like probably 30-40 miles maybe, just down from Oceanside. Yeah. But we were there from 4th grade to 9th grade. And so nice big part of my formative years in one spot. And then moved to Louisiana, Slidell, Louisiana, finished out high school there. Talk about a culture shift.
Holy crap.
It was
You're all over the place, Cari.
And then from Louisiana to Texas again. And I really have to say that move from Southern California to Louisiana was really heartbreaking. I left high school, left my best friend. I mean, quite honestly, like waving out the back window of the station wagon, she waving back at me, and I thought I'd never see her again.
Yeah.
Thanks to Facebook, we did. But it's like the one thing good about Facebook.
It is, yeah.
But no, we moved to Slidell, Louisiana, which is kind of the same distance from San Marcos to Austin. So very accessible via Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. You just kind of pop back and forth. And I did go into the city quite a bit, unbeknownst to my parents. And in high school, if you could reach the bar, you could drink. I mean, that's just the truth. And so I did. And we had a good time. But I did see my first like real live band in the sense of like not having to be famous, but not playing covers, but being a band and being a working band in a city. And I remember standing outside of that venue and just being kind of awestruck, like, wait a minute. So anybody can kind of do this. You don't have to be famous, right? And I kind of that kind of set the tone for me a little bit. And then I started doing like talent shows. And because before then I was way more of I studied dance as a kid and then theater. That's what I went to school for in San Marcos was musical theater.
Oh, okay.
And so, but but that's when I kind of got bit by the bug, was in those moments.
Were your parents musically inclined at all? Did they love music?
My dad really is good at listening to music.
Okay.
And he's really good at dancing. He's a great, my parents always danced in the kitchen, but my mom could sing.
Did they play any instruments, or just your mom singing?
No, my mom did not play any instruments. My grandmother, paternal grandmother, played trumpet and also sang. I know that like in the Hudson lineage, there were some like porch jams, with like some like lap steel and things like that.
Yeah.
But nothing on a professional level.
Where did you conjure the confidence to start performing and singing in front of people?
Confidence came from a really young age. 5 years old, living room, watching, there were these dancers called the Solid Gold Dancers. And I did my best to emulate them. And if you know how they were dressed as a 5-year-old in the living room emulating a Solid Gold Dancer, that's a look, But I would just hike my PJs up, my underwear, and I would just dance. And I remember when I first kind of caught my parents' attention and their friends in the room, and their eyes lit up and they laughed and they thought I was funny or something. And I noticed, and I was like, okay, I want to do that again. And then younger, my confidence came from myself, I think, but a lot of it was really, truly how much my parents believed in me. Like, they just always said, yeah, go for it.
Okay.
And to this day, I lost my mom 5 years ago, but my dad still is like, he'll ask me regularly what I'm doing and like will really push me, but not to a sense that I'm doing it for him.
Yeah. That's interesting. We kind of, I put this label on your dad as, being from the Marines, like is a real stickler to, find a career, find health insurance, find retirement. And then here you are, a product of him, and he's just fully supportive in your arts. That's kind of, I guess that's on me to never judge a book by its cover.
But
he fascinating.
Retired Colonel, Marine Corps. I mean, yeah, you would imagine highly regimented.
Right.
And he is in so many ways, but really where I get like the passion side of myself is my dad.
Okay.
He always has said, you have to have these two things to be successful in life, and it's desire and determination. And he's always reminded me, like, the 2 Ds. You got to have the 2 Ds, And he's always been the one. And my mom, too, rest her soul. Like, my mom was my biggest cheerleader. My mom was a nurse. She was an RN hospice nurse.
Very cool.
And she...
Man, that's tough.
She was incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
Very... yeah. So I get my incredible intelligence from my mom.
Awesome.
I'm kidding. No, but the passion and the drive of kind of like feeling a little like stupid, but you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's my dad, man. Like, he's just kind of like, you know what? You may not know exactly what you're doing, but do it like you do,
Yeah. So high school was spent in Louisiana. How did you get to San Marcos?
So my dad was, he graduated from Southwest Texas State. So my brother was going there at the time.
Yeah. I forgot you spent some time in Austin already.
Yeah, and I already knew. I mean, I was born in Austin.
Okay.
So, but in Seton Hospital. But we moved to. My parents lived in Elgin, and then we moved pretty quick after I was born to 29 Palms, California. So I am Austin native.
Yeah.
But I just didn't stay long.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when I went to school in San Marcos, I always intended to come back to Texas. That's where family was.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wanted to study theater, and both UT and Southwest Texas State at the time had very, very solid programs.
Yeah.
And so I looked at UT, I looked at Southwest Texas State, and in my, walking through UT campus and being downtown, and it was really overwhelming, the size of it. A lot of things overwhelmed me by that school. But one of the conversations I had with one of the theater students was my main deciding factor, really, to go to Texas State now is what it's called, was that she said, just so you know, no matter how good you are, when you audition, they will always choose the senior student over, because they want to give them as much time on stage as possible. She's like, that's the culture of this department. And I said, well, peace, because I'm going to go where I can compete. I'm going to go where I can get on stage because I'm good at it.
Okay.
And so I went there.
Damn.
Went to a smaller program.
Make me want to run through a wall, Cari. Jesus.
But the thing about it was, and I never graduated. I I never got that paper. And I do have a little bit of like that, like regret, but I try not to live with regret because I know that like it's never too late. You know, I can always go get that paper. And truth be told, if I did go back, I'd get a counseling degree anyway.
You've written songs about just letting it go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it does live in my soul because I'm telling myself this, you know?
Yeah.
When I write songs, I mean, it's coming from a very honest, organic, truthful place. And I'm either talking about me or I'm talking about someone that's close to me. But that, you know, the idea of turn the page and move forward and be happy. But you know, the recurring line is it's never too late. So I really do try to focus on that. It's never too late. But I do also struggle with focus. I'm very like human squirrel. Like look over here, like something shiny, and I'm like, oh. But you know, going to Southwest, I did have a conversation with a professor there in my theater program, and we would travel to schools every Tuesday and Thursday and do these children's shows, and we would all like rotate where we sat in the van, and when you sat in the passenger seat, you and Pasco, the professor, he would talk your ear off, but it was beautiful, you know, but it was kind of like okay, I'm going to sit in the passenger seat, you know, but we had a lovely conversation and he was just asking me what my goals were. And, you know, and he basically was like, you know, do you ever plan on teaching? Do you ever plan on doing anything backstage, like stagecraft, building sets? And I was, no, I just want to act. I just want to perform. He said, well, then you should go do that because we can't teach you anything more about that. You already know, just go. And I quit school.
Okay. When did you form the band?
My first band started in 99.
Okay.
And that was Blue Funk Junction, and we had a lot of fun in San Marcos. We did quite well. We got a pretty good little name for ourselves and played in Austin at Steamboat, which was a really well-renowned venue on Dirty Six. You know, the Scabs were huge there.
Okay.
It's been closed for years now, but
Scabs.
it was Bob Schneider's band, the Scabs, were huge, and we got to open for them.
That's why.
And that kind of like started propelling us forward,
right,
you know.
Right.
And then that band stopped, and it was Into Groove, and then it was Cari Hudson. My first band was Remedy. I can't believe I didn't even mention Remedy. That was before Blue Funk, but that was more Austin based. I joined their band. I met them at a frat party.
Oh, nice. Which frat?
I have no idea.
Okay.
The one, you know, the one with the party.
Yeah, all of them. And it was during San Marcos that you met a very gnarly guitar player by the name of Hunter. How'd that happen?
So I met him. Funny enough, he played and ran sound, kind of moonlighted with sound. Still does.
Yeah.
He was at the country bar, like Cheatham Street Warehouse. He was over there, and I was at.
Oh, Cheatham! I forgot about that venue.
The Rock Club, Triple Crown, and 1 to 1, and not 1 to 1. Lucy's Retired Surfers Bar. That's what it was called.
We called it Cripple Town. I don't know why. We're just like,
hey, that makes perfect sense to me.
It's still, I don't know if it's still around, but it was an awesome venue.
It got leveled years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, super sad. But yeah, Hunter and I met at Lucy's, and he, you know, he would play with a couple different bands in town, and I just always would have, and like when he came in the room, I would always notice him, and when he played guitar, everyone noticed. He just had a different style than most of the players in that town. But please understand, San Marcos at that time was the level of musicianship that was happening was incredible. Like it really was a miniature Austin that I feel that Austin is now to me.
Yeah.
But man, it was just loaded with talent. And
they
Susanna Schofel had a band.
Yeah. They had a recording. I mean, was the recording, not studio, the school there?
Fire station.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they had a really great little studio there. I recorded my first record with Blue Funk there. But I met Hunter there, and, you know, I would watch him play all the time. He was always dating somebody, so that door was always closed. And but yeah, eventually, when I moved to Austin, and I was looking for a guitar player, I think the drummer that I had at the time was like, hey, I think Hunter just left this band that he's been playing with. You should hit him up. And so I got his number and I called him. And I said, hey, would you like to play guitar with me, you know? And he was like, yes, I would. And so we had a couple, you know, jams, rehearsals or whatever. And then here we are.
And then 10 years later, is that right?
And then, yeah, I mean, more than 10. We're 11 years married now. And we dated a couple years before that. And so I think we've been playing music together since 2011.
Got it. Do you also write with him?
We do.
Okay.
It hasn't always been that way.
Yeah. What is your writing process like when first... Okay, what is your writing process with him, and does that differ when you write with other people?
So writing with other people first is what happened. And it was always that they would kind of come with a partial idea, the chord structure, like, and then I would kind of fill in the blanks or, but usually like my main songwriting partner, Jim Drew, who I wrote my first record with, that's pretty much how it happened. He had a lot of solid ideas and we would kind of like work them out together. I might have to change like the key it was in to match my better, pitches for me and things like that. But with Hunter and I, it's kind of fresh, to be honest, like Back to the River, Take the Day. Those are like our songs. A lot of other songs were songs that Jim and I wrote that he kind of like made his by his style of playing. But here recently, the vibe has been that Hunter will just be playing guitar after we get Hazel to sleep somewhere in the house, and my ear will kind of bend to what he's playing.
Yeah.
And I'll ask him, is this something original? And he's like, yeah. So ideas start kind of rolling, and I'll usually put him in my voice notes. But for me, melody and words usually come together.
Okay.
So I'll just try to capture them as quick as I can.
Yeah.
And then we'll sit together. I mean, here recently, we spent a night and we got 3 songs.
Wow. That's
not
right?
usual for us.
Yeah,
and so
okay.
we were like, wait a minute. What's going on with this? And so we have a whole new slew of songs now. We're going to be getting in the studio at the end of the month.
Was there any rhyme or reason why 3 songs just magically appeared, or was it just a culmination of things that have been building up? How does that happen?
I think it's a little bit of both of what you said. I think it was an energy thing. I mean, sometimes you just strike a match and it freaking goes, right? But for him, he had just gotten out of the studio with his other band, the South Austin Moonlighters. And they had a really inspirational session in Louisiana. And so when he got back, I think he was just still kind of like flying high from that. But I think that because he's not one of the main vocalists of that band, some of his ideas maybe didn't get to be realized. Mm-hmm. And so he started playing some notes on his phone that were just recordings of his guitar. And one after the other, I said, well, you're sitting on a gold mine. What are these? He goes, I don't know. They're just ideas. I was like, well, let's sit with them.
Right.
And then I had some poetry essentially in mine, and they just locked, so it's just kind of happened.
Is it also because maybe he's just more comfortable around you?
I don't know if he is more comfortable around me. I mean, I think in the sense of life, yes. I think but in songwriting, because we've tried this before.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just kind of fell flat on its face because he just didn't get an hour I didn't get, right. And we would get kind of frustrated, and so we would just kind of like, well, we'll come back to that, and then we would leave it on the table. I think it's just, they say timing is everything, and I think that maybe this is our time. We've hit a mode. All I know is that in that night when we got through those 3 songs, we just kind of were flabbergasted and just looked at each other like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. And then I listened back like, oh, God, are they really shitty, though? You know what I mean? Because in the moment, you can think they're really great. And then the next day you listen and you're like, oh, that's absolute shit. But no, I really love them. And I'm stoked. Like, we're really excited to record them. So.
I laugh because there's moments late at night. I'm just so tired. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I ever produced. I wake up the next morning. I'm like, what the hell were you thinking, Ramon? Jesus.
Yeah, delirium can really tell you a lot of lies.
Do you need a comfortable space, or do you put yourself in uncomfortable places to get that creativity out? Like for me, I'll be editing on a plane and I'm like, I have to get this done because the due date is tomorrow, and it's the most uncomfortable place that I'm editing in, but sometimes it offers, some pretty unique ideas for me. I'm
the least regimented person you could probably know, and it's to a fault. Like I really do a lot better if I have less time on my hands. Mm-hmm. The more time I'm given, the more I will waste. I'm really a dreamer that way. I get really lost in thought.
Yeah.
But I'm also like your classic Virgo perfectionist, which is like, that doesn't make sense, all that. So that's like, like, you know what I mean? So poor Hunter, like dealing with me on a daily basis because I'm super certain about some things and feel very strongly about that. But then I cannot come up with an answer about something else to save my life. So me getting things done is somewhat of a miracle. I don't even know how to answer that question. I feel a sense of urgency to complete things, but I also don't like to force things.
Right. Do you need, well, I guess you kind of already answered this, but I need everything to be taken care of inside before I can come out here and create. Like dishes got to be done, beds got to be made, laundry's sitting right there, and it's just it's building up a tumor in my head right now.
I am like that. I am like
that. Yeah. So do you need, like, what are some of the things that are non-negotiables in order for you to create? Is it like taking a shower? Is it getting your hair done? Do you have one of those? My hair done. It's flowing though.
Well, it's something, but for me, I definitely keeping my home organized is really important for me because, well, I'll tell you this much. If you walk into my home and things are everywhere, you know that's what it's like up in here. It is a absolute reflection of my mental health.
Yeah.
And to be very fair, growing up, that was always instilled in me. I would say us, my older brother and me, but we both had different chores. His were all outdoor chores. Mine were indoor. I did vacuuming and I did the, dusting and things like that. Before I could do anything on the weekend, those things had to be done. And boy, we had all kinds of knickknacks and things on things. I had to pick them all off and wipe down everything. You feel this?
Yeah, because my wife likes to collect a lot of knickknacks, so and I'm just like, oh my god, you want to add another fairy lamp? It's
so much dust.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna have to wipe that bitch down like 30 times.
Yeah, that was my whole.
Okay.
So I've been like brought up in that, but I will say when my mom passed, she was an alcoholic, but her intellect was so strong, but eventually it worked against her. You know what I mean? But I noticed when I went into their home, because it was always ready for a guest all the time. And that was a telltale. Then I was like, some cogs in the machine are breaking down here.
Yeah.
And so I can definitely tell that for myself. So yeah, to be creative, it is hard for me if I look around and like things are everywhere because, we have a 9-year-old. And so she is all about doing her art, all of her work at our like coffee table in our living room. And so like if Hunter and I are going to try to sit and write, I will have to like organize that before I can do it. So yes, that little things like that.
Is your daughter playing the drums? Is that right?
She plays bass.
Bass. Okay. Is she into White Stripes?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Huge.
Because I had a conversation with Hunter about, his life and raising a kid and all that stuff. What's it like raising a daughter and also being a musician?
It's fun.
Yeah.
I always want to make sure I'm giving her enough of my time.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like, because on the weekends we're out the door so often.
Yeah.
And I just don't want her to, grow up one day and feel like she saw the back of my head leaving the house more than we sat and like did Legos and things like that. Yeah. So for me, it's trying to slow myself down. And because of the nature of our job, we're constantly like, we don't have like office hours.
Nope.
So I have to put my phone down sometimes, and even though I'm trying to complete an email because trying to complete this booking or posting on social media, like, so yeah, I am on Facebook or Instagram, and she's like, you're just on social media, and I'm like, right, but I am working though. But that's so confusing. So I have to like really remind myself, put it down, be present with her. But we have a lot of fun, man. She also sings, and she does not want to take any advice from me, of course, because what do I know? But
that's a wild dynamic. Here you have a professional musician for going on some time now, and then you have this child who has the same, complex that we all has as kids. What do they know? Like, why do they know what's best for me? Even though they're working in the industry. That's weird. How do you handle that dynamic?
You just swallow it. You're like, cool, no problem. Because the thing about it is, it's like, maybe I don't know anything.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I don't. I'm doing the best I can every day to feel like I fit in. I fight imposter syndrome so hard when I'm out and about.
Shut up. No, you don't.
Oh, yes,
really?
I absolutely do. Gosh, when I was
serious,
when I was doing all that side stage stuff with the Rich Brotherton benefit the other night, I mean, like, Lyle Lovett walks up and strikes up a conversation with you, and you're just like, oh, that's a level of cool that I'll never understand and never be in my life. And you find yourself like, I didn't mention that I was a musician, and then Rich introduced me to him. She's like, oh, she's an amazing singer. And I'm like, oh, right, I do sing. I do that. Cool. But, it's just easy to have a lot of self-doubt because you're just like, I'm swimming in a stew of greatness in this town all the time. And so you want to have self-confidence, but then I also I'm also always trying to make sure, am I good? Because it's hard to know. you know?
But when you are in the same rooms with those individuals, doesn't that give you some sort of confidence that, hey, everything I've done in my past has all led to here, and I'm still in the same room with these individuals?
It does.
Yeah.
And there's moments when I do remind myself, because often we're all chasing this something, and we're all just kind of like grabbing for it.
Right.
And I have to remind myself that, no, I actually have, like, if this were it, I do have a lot of success. Like, I think about the things that I've done and the relationships that I have in my life that are professional in the industry, and I'm like, wow, I never could have saw that coming. I would have never seen it coming that the Janis Joplin estate would have, said yes to me being one of the performers that can, perform as Janis on A Night with Janis Joplin. Like, to meet her parents, to meet her fans, to meet her brother, her sister, have a song given to me from Dave Getz, her bandmate, that she never got to record.
Yeah.
Like, things like that. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
You've done something, little girl. I could think about that little girl that was dancing around the living room, and I'm like, you did something. But of course I want so much more. I want to pay my bills. I know that for sure.
But do you use those reference points to like kind of pull yourself out of those moments when you are suffering imposter syndrome?
Yeah, a little bit.
Good. All right. As you should. Going back to your daughter, how do you balance that life between being a mom, being a musician, being a business owner, being awesome at everything?
I'm not sure about the last one, but
how do you find that balance?
Well, clearly my eye's twitching. It's been twitching for a full week. My right
I get that too. Are you stressed?
I guess. Perhaps.
I think that's a telltale sign for me, anyways. When I get that twitching, I'm like, I gotta stop it.
I need to rest.
I need to go drink something.
Something
some booze.
has got to happen, because this is an indication that I have not found the balance, and I don't know. No, it's just like breath for me. It's just taking a minute and taking inventory, gratitude, and really planning, like just like having the calendar, because Hunter's on the road, I'm on the road.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm on the road, he's on the road, because
Right.
we make music together.
Aww.
But it's just, and believe me, most people will be like, how do y'all do that? Because we parent together.
Yeah.
We're married.
Yeah.
We do everything together. And I would not have it any other way. I like him so much. You know what I mean? But like, I love him. That's kind of like of course you do. You married him. Of course you love him.
Duh.
But like, I like him so much. So I think my answer to that question is that, like, teamwork. You know what I mean? Because
Got it.
We don't have any of those like roles in our household that, I do the laundry, but it's because I'm anal and I want it to be done right, and I don't want things to shrink, and that's why I do it. It's not because he can't.
Yeah.
But like, he does a lot of the cooking. Like, he's an incredible cook, and he's an amazing, like, on the grill, like, so a lot of times he does all that. You know what I mean? Like, but we just balance the shift. We shift back and forth on different workloads, and that we both can go out and be musicians. We can do that together. We can do it separately, and it's about respect of one another, and it's about working together.
Yeah. I remember watching my parents in their relationship and how they had traditional roles. Dad went to go work, and then mom would take care of the household, cooking, cleaning, and all that stuff. And in my marriage, I think what's worked best for us is that we do our own laundry, we do our own cooking, we have our separate bank accounts, but when we need each other, we're there for each other financially. Especially when I started my own thing, she was like, yeah, go do your own thing. I go, babe, I'm probably going to make shit the first year or so. Thankfully, it only took 6 months to where I could get back to paying half the mortgage and half the bills. But she was like, yeah, that's fine. I trust you and I believe in you. I'm like,
yes.
Oh,
I'm telling you, I just, and I hate to be like, I just posted this, but no, but I did.
Yeah.
Like, totally last night. No, but I did. I just I felt compelled to just make a statement about when someone truly believes in you, the amount of impact it can have on your life and what you can accomplish. Because Paige and I were talking, Paige DeChassi and I were talking after the PAX show. She had a friend of ours that came up and had a lovely conversation with her and gifted her something, and it was a definite reflection of how much he believes in her.
Yeah.
And she was trying to kind of process it all. And through that conversation on my drive home, I got to thinking about all the times people have shown their emotional support, their financial support, their spoken word of do not give up.
Right.
I have to tell you, almost every single show with my personal music, because I'll space out my performances because I really want to maximize the return on how many people come. I really do. There'll be times when I'm walking in like what's the point? Like, because I've yet to sell out that room. You know what I mean? I've been playing that room since I was 19.
Yeah.
And it's not that I can't play other rooms in Austin. It's just so much that Austin has, Saxon Pub has my heart. But anyway, I go in there and I'm always kind of like that close to being like, ugh, what am I doing anymore? And someone will come up to me and just testify, so to speak. I'm not a religious person, but that's kind of what it feels like.
Spiritual?
Very much so.
Good.
And they'll just say, like, do not stop. And I'm like, there you are. Thank you. I was waiting for you because I needed that. You know what I mean? I'm not even sure if I answered the question. What am I talking about?
I forgot what the answer or the question was, but I think the answer.
That's classic for
No,
me,
we were just alluding to like how, I do all the chores.
I know what it was.
You need someone, like the fact that someone, when my wife said she believed in me.
That's
it. That kind of just, makes you want to run through a wall for not only yourself, but for that person you care about.
Mm-hmm. It's partnership.
Yeah. So how old's your daughter?
9.
9. Were you guys working full-time jobs when you had your daughter, or were you still full-time musicians?
When I'm trying to think of the timeline of when that went down. So 2013, Hunter and I came back from the West Coast from doing the show at night with Janis Joplin.
Okay.
And I had a fan friend at that time. I've had these moments in my career where people have come through in huge financial ways for me, like the patrons of the arts, these people that have been a part of our artistic world since Shakespearean times, you know what I'm saying, that said, please continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah, they believe in art.
Wrote me a check for an amount that, I think about it now, it wasn't a huge amount, but it was a very generous amount for anyone to write for anyone.
Right.
And her whole thing was, please don't go back. Because at that time I was waiting tables at Shady Grove. Rusted. But I was just starting to do management training there. And when I left that, my manager, the owner, and he said it so lovingly, but like, he's like, I'm never going to hire you again here. Like, after he saw me perform the Janis role, he's like, I will never hire you again because you don't belong there. You belong here. And so when I got back from that show and Ruth wrote me that check, I never did. I never went back to waiting tables. But I did moonlight a little bit with Saxon Pub bartending. They needed a Thursday bartender. I was pregnant. And I'm like, I needed to get out of the house. I needed to feel like myself.
Right.
I'm a very social person.
Yeah.
So Hunter was working at Guitar Center at the time. And I was doing that one shift at Saxon, but also was doing the cover band scene.
Oh my God.
And so we were doing like...
all while being pregnant.
Yes. And I was performing every Monday at Strange Brew. It used to be open years ago. Now it closed, but...
Now it's... Wait, Strange Brew, isn't that...
It's Quacks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay.
And so I did Good Company, my band. We did every Monday. Okay. And we got to the point that people were asking me, like, when are you going to stop? Because I was so pregnant. They were like, I'm getting...
Never.
Like, they're like, are you actually going to like give birth like live on stage? What's going on? It's like, yeah, I'll just charge extra for that. But Dave Scher would actually send me text messages every now and then like, oh, come on. Are you really still pregnant? Like, get it over with. Like, he was just so funny. He would hound me all the time, but jokingly, obviously. But yeah, Hunter was working a jobby job. I was working, a little bit jobby job. And then after we brought her home, COVID.
Holy shit. Really?
Well, so she was born in 2016.
Okay.
So we had a good 2.5, 3 years of, working, also Hunter, he was doing a lot of construction, like home renovation stuff with his good buddy. Yep. And he still does that now.
The drummer, right?
Drummer Cecilio.
Yeah.
And his best friend Troy.
Okay.
Who Troy and Misty now live in Hawaii. Poor things. And they're doing their businesses huge over there. But yeah, Hunter was doing a lot of construction. He left Guitar Center, was just doing music and construction at that time. But it was slowly after COVID, after we got the Sonic Guild grant, it was Black Fret then, but now Sonic Guild, that pushed us into the next fold. And we've just been 100% musicians, contracting our work out. And we have not gone back to jobby jobs.
That is amazing and awesome.
And hey, when I say jobby jobs, let's be real. That is not like a slight.
No, not by any
I just want to
means.
clear that up because believe me, if I could find something that worked with being a mom and being a singer that could really like pay the bills so that I could truly be an artist and not be worried about that making my money, I would do it.
Yeah.
But I'm such a stubborn person that like the work that I would have to do to make that nut has to be a spiritual for me. And only way I could make that kind of money is going back to school and getting a master's in counseling, because that's the only thing else I'd want to do.
God, school sucks. I hate it.
Or going to realty, but then it's like, so it's like all the things that I'm doing, I would be trading a hustle for a hustle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, why not just hustle on one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think it'll be a lot cooler to say that you did it your way and not really not gave in, but not.
Well,
really
I hope
went
so.
Yeah.
I hope that that's my story. I hope that when it all goes down, that I did do something. You know what I mean?
I say all that. I mean, I ask about, raising a child, being a musician, is just because I hear stories from my friends who have kids, and it sounds like it's one of the hardest things to do, but also one of the most rewarding things to do. And my issue, not my issue, but what I'm trying to wrap my head around is how do I still live my dream while supporting this thing that can't live without my help,
Well, I think that when they're really little, I'll speak from my perspective. I went through really hard postpartum depression.
Right. And I have no idea what that even means.
Well, okay.
But I understand
that it's
pretty
know that
tough.
It was what it was until later. It was all perspective. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
At that time, I thought I'm just tired. And I was. That was a huge, I had extreme anxiety, which I'd never really experienced before. But the lack of sleep that was happening really put me in like a psychosis, like really bad. It wasn't the kind of postpartum that I ever wanted to hurt my daughter or myself. It was just this like distance of emotion. And I just was always tired and always ready. Just be like, will you take her? It makes me so sad now, because those years I will never get back. And the preciousness of that time is something I didn't feel connected to. And so now I feel like I'm constantly trying to make up for lost time. But the biggest thing for me with Hazel and how to be a parent and be a musician, and the question you ask is like, I'm just really honest with her. I'm so transparent with her about how hard things are. I don't tell her about the cost of things. I don't want her to feel like she's a financial burden or like that she's a problem. But I will tell her that this is hard. Whatever this is, I'll be very open. And if I say something, like if I'm tired because I had a long night, whether it's because we were traveling or because I had one more tequila than I should have, I will be honest with her. I'm sorry. I will apologize. Right. I will always tell her when mommy's wrong, and I will always tell her when she's wrong. You know what I mean? I just go to the truth because it's just easier, and I don't have to make up stories.
Got it.
That's how I do it.
Okay. That seems like a good way to go about it.
I'm an over communicator.
Yeah. And I think that's good, especially from being
once again.
That's good. I wish my parents were over communicative about the things why they said no or why we couldn't do these things. It was just because I said so.
Yeah.
And like if we do have a child, like I don't want that to be my answer. But to your point, if I had one too many beers the night before and like it's because I'm sure there'll be moments I'm going to say because I said so, go clean a room. Yeah.
And you will, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's also just knowing that there's going to be, one of the things I say to Hazel, and it's also I'm saying this to myself, when she's like, I'm bored or at this, I'm like, Hazel, not every day is going to be the best day of your life. Okay?
That's true.
You're just going to have to figure it out.
Man, that's good for even adults.
Go and figure it out.
Right.
Go sit in the sunshine. Do something simple. Go whatever you got to do, but I can't do that for you. Go find your happy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You have XYZ things. If the things aren't making you happy, then you need to go look somewhere else. Yeah. And then guess what? In the quiet of the night when she's in bed and I get to thinking about, because of course I'll beat myself up. I'll think of all the things that I did that I feel like I regret and how bad of a mom I've been. And then I'll also be like, right, but I need to do the same thing. I need to go sit in the sunshine. I need to go do those things.
Were you raised Catholic by chance?
No.
Okay.
No, but
That's a very Catholic thing.
My mom was raised Baptist,
okay.
and she had this funny thing where she was like the designated crier. Unless someone cried, they couldn't leave the church that day, So she was very religious in the sense, not like I don't want to offend
Bible
anybody.
thumper?
She wasn't a Bible thumper, but she just it wasn't that important to her growing up. Like we didn't really go to church, but she would kind of like hold certain lines, but,
oh, I got some of the best sleeps during mass. Oh, it was so good. And then my dad would nudge me awake. I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, can I just get the sermon on tape so I can just fall asleep easier now? So another thing that I want to talk about is the business of being a musician. But specifically, what are some of the differences that, speaking from your experience, what are some of the differences that you've experienced that maybe male musicians have not experienced? Is there any difference?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. There's a difference.
Right,
I mean,
and obviously,
I think it's just lack of being taken seriously.
Okay.
And I think that, when you're in the room, first of all, just getting in the room.
Right.
Is something.
Obviously, yeah.
And then you get in the room and it's like, no, you can look me in the eye. I am here.
Yeah.
Like I have a seat here.
Right.
And I think it's just being, and then also, are you perceived as a bitch because you're direct?
Yeah.
Yes, of course you are.
Right.
But do you care? No.
Okay.
Because I don't have to change who I am to coddle your little male ego to make you feel comfortable that I'm in the room. At all. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't want to come in so hard that you can't be, like, no one wants to chew on, like, that tough piece of meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say. But you know what I mean? Like, you have to be palatable.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think men in the room, women in the room, I think you just have to know how to be around people and not take things so personally. And just keep your confidence at the center, knowing that you belong there, knowing that, you know what you know, but you also really need to learn. I'm really not good at business, to be very honest with you.
Sure.
If I were better at business, I might be further along in my career. Sometimes when I even describe myself and I say the word career, I kind of like choke on it. I laugh a little bit because I'm like, do I have one? But I mean, evidently I do.
Yeah, the IRS thinks you have a career.
But I'm trying to understand that side of things a little bit more now and be better at the organization side of what the business really demands. So when you bring up business, I even shudder because I'm like, ooh, I need to work on that one.
Well, yeah, I think it's something that every creative needs to have an understanding of, like, what the economics are of running, your band, how much is each player getting paid and, the economics of that. And that's what I'm struggling with too. It's like, I don't know what things cost. I don't know what you value versus what I value. And I'm in constant conversation of like, all right, what's your budget? Well, Ramon, what do you charge? I don't know. What's your budget? I really
know, and I've been that person to you, and I really do.
But it's like, I don't know. Like, I understand, like, if you've sold X amount of tickets, you're profiting X amount, but tell me you've only sold 30 tickets and you can only pay me $2. I'm like, all right, well then, maybe I do 30 minutes there and we don't do full hours. There's a balance there, and I'm trying to be Nick Parr. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He has a great business mindset. He's like, hey, I only have X amount of dollars for the shoot. Can you come? I'm like, yes, absolutely. And then he over explained, like, I spent like $1,500 a month on marketing. Ticket prices are this much. So this is why I can only pay. I'm like, dude, if I want you to give like a curriculum and spell it out for musicians, because this makes me feel way more comfortable in working with you now that I understand how you're pricing yourself. So this makes it, I don't know, it just makes it palatable.
I think when you're working artist to artist, it's a different thing than, like, say someone coming to you that's from a corporate standpoint, wanting you to come to do filming.
Oh, if corporate, they get charged X.
Knowing your value is very important. Right. And I too am challenged with that because believe me, people come to me and say, we want you for our little festival. Can you play? And I'm like, ooh, we have got to fill in some blanks here. Some variables are missing. And if you can answer these questions, then I can give you my rate.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be this kind of evolving thing. And I think that, with you especially, I mean, I know that you're incredible at your no.
Thank you. I know.
No, you really are. And so, I mean, I don't want you to necessarily raise my prices, but I'm just saying you should probably raise your prices. But I think that when people do come to you, and I say you in the general sense, with a lot of specifics, it is easier because from an artist to artist, especially because you understand it and because you want to be a part of something that's going to be something great one day. yeah, it's easier for you to be like, you know what, my normal price would be this, but I would love to be a part of this project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of where I come from.
Right.
But sometimes I'll price out things so ridiculous because I don't really want to do the gig.
Yeah.
And people will pay it. So I'm like, well, I'll go do it.
And that's the weird thing about like value-based pricing is like people will see an astronomical price and they'll be like, oh, that's way too expensive. Whereas other people are like, yes, immediately to that price because obviously this person is going to bring a lot of value.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just tough to read people's minds and ask the right questions without, I don't know, giving away your services for free, or not even for free, but you could have gotten more out of the deal.
Well, I won't take anybody's services for free, and I won't give any of my services for free.
That's
ever.
That's a good.
Now, I can't say that. I can't use ever because, of course, if it's a fundraising effort,
absolutely,
that's a give me. That's of course.
Yeah, obviously.
But when people are like, you know, if someone wants to do a solid trade, in for it. But I don't like when anybody is like, no, don't worry about it. You don't need. I'm like, no, your time and your energy is worth something. Right. You know what I mean? And and we'll come down to determine what that something is. But yeah, free is not a thing.
So what would you tell Cari at the start of her musical career? What would you tell her to like, hey, this is how things are going to be. You need to change your mindset. You need to change your business model. Like, what would you go back and tell that girl?
Oh,
it's still pursuing the musical journey.
I would just tell her, please be yourself. Please know that there are going to be so many ways that you're told that you're wrong. Your hair, your body, the things you have to say, your presence in this world. You're going to be told that all of those are wrong. But know that you are here for a reason and that you matter and that your voice matters and that what you have to say matters and that you don't take up too much space ever to be yourself, because I went into so many different auditions trying to be someone different. You know, I can't tell you how many times throughout my career I've been told to audition for The Voice in American Idol. I did multiple times. I just never brought myself into the audition. I brought who I thought they wanted. And then the one time I really know I killed it, it was such BS, and that's another story. But so that wasn't a part of my story, and that's something that Hunter told me when I was really broken down about it. He was like, "You don't belong on a game show," and I was like, And I mean, for those friends of mine that were a part of that, I commend their stories, and I love that they did that ride. I don't think it's the right one for me, and that's why I never took it, or never got invited. But I would tell her that, just be you. And I know that sounds probably kind of trite and a little bit maybe overdone, but for me personally, especially now as this 47-year-old woman, a mother, a wife, like, I really like who I am. Yeah. And I, for the first time in my life, am not so angry about the ways that I feel like I should have been different, like when I was 19. Just missed out on so many things because I just wanted to hide in my room and not be in a bathing suit. Like, I missed out on joy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't want anyone to miss out on joy for those silly, silly reasons. And they don't feel silly at the time, but they really are, because no one really cares. You know, they just want to meet you.
Yeah. How have you seem to be one of the cornerstones of individuals that is part of a great group of musicians here in town. How have you built this community that is so caring about the musicianship, but more so about the individuals?
I don't think I built anything.
Well, how are you associated, or how has this group just become its own thing?
I've never been happier that I answered a phone call in my entire life. But when Andrew McGee gave me a buzz and asked, would you be free to do this Monday show? Especially as a young mom, like, it's so easy to be like, a Monday night, no. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to hopefully be sleeping. You know what I mean? But I was like, I think at that time I just needed to feel like myself so badly that I just needed to get out and find something, you know, as much as I love my home and my family.
What year was this when the phone call came? Do you remember?
That was 2019.
Okay.
I believe, yeah, because we had just gotten this whole ball rolling before the world shut down.
Yeah.
In fact, we were all walking together, walking our dogs in the park together. The day we found out that South by Southwest was canceled.
Yeah.
We were all stunned. We just stopped in our tracks and looked at each other like,
yep.
Wait a minute, what is going on? And then after that, it went to like live streams, and we kind of formed our own little pod. But through that, I think that, I think the community saw us and were just as surprised as we were that this was working. When you talk about the community, I'm assuming you're talking about PAC and like the group of musicians.
Everything that I saw at that benefit. Just
okay,
like
yeah.
That, so I was introduced to PAC. Not introduced, but I was there for PAC, and I saw the community that you created there, and I'm like, man, they filled this fucking room, shoulder to shoulder. And then I went to the benefit, and I'm like, this is even expounded. And I see all these musicians here who are connected to this one individual, and then you're there, Andrea's there. I'm like, this goes deeper than I thought.
Yeah, so the community's always been in Austin, right? And all those people that you saw at the Paramount for Rich, they're deep Austin, okay?
Yeah.
Those are the people that paved the way for
right,
us.
Yeah.
So I cannot own any of that.
Well,
that's been going, that's a thread that I had just hoped and prayed to be a part of for so many years that could have never even imagined. But then with us, with the Saxon Pub community and like the PAC community and then how it stretches out with all of our male counterparts and all of our different bands, Madame Radar, The Reverend Few, Beat Root Revival and Cari Hudson and Good Company, and like it just starts kind of like, and then it threads out even further with Dave Scher, because they've all played with PAC at some iteration,
right.
Jimenez, and like, I mean, it just keeps kind of threading out. And so I think us just being ourselves, especially on stage, it then spoke to the community that they really felt like they were getting to know us, and we were getting to know them. And I think that anytime it feels like a handshake, then the handshake becomes a hug, right? And it just feels like home. And when people feel at home, they are themselves inherently, right? That's the idea. You should feel like you can be yourself when you're at home. And Saxon specifically, the Saxon Pub has provided a home for us all. And we just carry it out everywhere we go.
I love filming there at Saxon Pub, and I also like being an audience member there, but Dylan, the sound guy, is always on top of giving me a solid line. I don't even really have to put on my fake sales pitch. Hey, how's it going, man?
Right.
Like, Dylan, what's up, man? Can I get a line? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's just an immediate understanding.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's so great. My top venue to be at, and as well as capture moments there for. We are well over an hour.
I'm a chatty one.
No, that's the beautiful thing about these podcasts is, when we're at shows, I never really get to sit and chat your ear off and ask you all these kinds of questions. So that's why I love doing these things, because I get to know more about you guys as artists and as individuals. A few more questions. So as you've traveled around the United States, what keeps the Austin music scene different and unique from other pockets of the States, if there is any difference?
I wish that I really feel like this is a question for someone like Kelly Green or Violet or...
Well, just like in your
And I
own
say that because they tour a lot.
Sure, yeah.
My experience, from going to different venues in different states is, I think Austin will be different always because we just have so much music. Like, now we'll say over the years it has become more of a foodie town. It's become a little bit more of a like scene stir. People go to shows to be seen at the shows. I'm not sure how much they're really listening. And I think that like Blues on the Green,
a fair statement.
Blues on the Green is a huge testament to that. That used to be a very different situation. Now it's like a mini ACL.
It really is.
And
yeah.
it's, I mean, good on you. You know what I mean? But the wholesomeness and the closeness to the music has kind of changed a little bit, but that just sounds like the old person in the room, him, Han. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But
back in my day,
you know what I mean? But yeah, truly. But Austin's also always been kind of like, even though we kind of gave ourselves that whole like, live music capital of the world thing, whoever said it first and however it stuck, it's always been that little badge of honor that we hold, right? So when we go out into other areas that don't have that kind of infrastructure to support live music, of course it feels different because it feels like everyone's out there on their own. And they are. Nashville in particular, and I have never been, so this is all hearsay. This is all what I've been told. It is a business town. That's where you go to make it in the business.
Right.
That's where you go to get in the room to be a songwriter, right? To get those credits and make that money. And most of, from what I understand, in the venues is a lot of cover music, and you kind of pay to play. From maybe I'm wrong, please correct me, but like it's just a different vibe. And then different smaller communities. My aunt, one of my favorite people in the world, Leslie, she just moved to Pennsylvania, and she's huge into music, and she's like, oh God, what did I do? Like, I'm really having a hard time like getting inspired by original music here because I just can't find enough of it. So I think I think it comes down to what communities value, and these other communities may not value songwriting and original music as much as our city does. And that's it. It's value. What do you value?
Okay.
That's my opinion.
No, that's a great opinion. That's a great take. How have you seen, do you like all the changes that's happening to Austin? It's inevitable.
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I live in South Austin. I barely get across the river. I'm kind of boring. Like I don't really do as much as I probably should do in this city. Like I love the outdoors, but like I'm in my backyard. You know what I mean? Like I also really love my house. Like Hunter has worked his tail off on making our home a really beautiful place to be, and I love being at my house. And
is is Hunter still a contractor? Mm-hmm. Can he still? Okay, I need to talk to him about a project that I want done.
Yeah, he obviously wants to make most of his time and all that on being a guitar player, and of course, when you're a contractor and using your hands, like be careful. but he does enjoy it. Okay. I think there's something to the middle, beginning, and end to it, that like you start it and you go through the process, and then you have the finished product, and you get to be like, I did that, and then you get to get paid, and then you're done. Whereas like with music, you go through all of it and you get it done, and you're like, there it went. Yeah. And then you just like release a song, and you're like, hope that does something, and there's never like that real big financial like, and you did this and you get paid for it. So he definitely still does it. I think he enjoys it, but yeah, definitely focusing more on guitar.
Okay. So is that a no?
No, that's a maybe. I just can't speak for him.
That's a maybe? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, hit him up.
I will, for sure. What else? I think that's Cari. I think that's it. What do you got coming up down the pipe?
So we have a single. The 04 Center. Yeah. So I do a Janis Joplin tribute, happy birthday show annually at the 04 Center. It's always around Janis Joplin's birthday, which is January 19th. And so we do it on the Saturday that's closest to that. And this year that falls on the 17th of January.
Awesome.
So we'll be there, and you'll be there too.
I'll be there.
And which I'm delighted for.
Me too.
And every year it's just a killer show. So I'm very excited for it again. And it's sold out the last couple of years. And so I'm hoping for that to be the case again. And
why would it not if you're playing there?
It's a pretty epic show. Yeah. The South Austin Moonlighters open it with their tribute to the band Little Feat. And if you don't know that band, you get to know them because it's an incredible band.
Okay.
And they do an insanely good job with it. But so I have that show. And then also we'll be putting out 2 singles at the top of the year. One is an original, the other is a cover. We have a song called Dive In that we're releasing in January. I don't want to say the date because last time I did that, they like it didn't release on the day it was supposed to. So January. And then we have a song called Joy. It's a Lucinda Williams cover that we'll be putting out. And it's a lot of fun. And we recorded both of these songs at our house and homegrown studios,
Very cool.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And your Thursday residencies?
Yeah, every Thursday with PAC, as Kelly Green says, until the day we die.
Nice.
And then I'll be playing locally here and there. Like I mentioned, we're going in the studio at the end of this month to record a bulk. We have kind of some new stuff to discuss later about that. So
awesome.
That's a different ball of wax.
Before I forget, should people go on cruises? Because you were just on one, right?
I mean, I can't tell you that. I can tell you that I go because I get paid to go.
Sure. Did you enjoy it?
So much.
Okay. You brought your daughter along too, right?
That's conflicting. So much. But I did. I mean, genuinely.
Yeah, you brought your daughter along on
we
this
did.
one?
We brought our whole family. My in-laws went. Now, great. We're so grateful to them, Fred and Teresa, because they took care of Hazel the whole time. Like we were able to work because we really are there to work.
Right.
But we did get to see her and have joyful moments aboard the ship, and then some other musicians on board had their kids too, and so she got to run around with them. And my dad, his new wife Sandy, and my aunt and uncle, and my cousin.
Wow.
They were all there. And so when this was the first time that Hunter and I and our band played the Texas Country Music Festival.
Yeah.
The previous years we've been doing production. Hunter was handling the sound.
Right.
I was doing stage management. And then our bassist is the one that produces the festival.
Okay.
But then this past year, the owner of the festival, she was like, I want y'all to play. So we did both. And it was fantastic. We're going to do both again next year. And it's a blast.
How long is it?
It's 7 days.
Is that do you, after something like that, do you need a vacation for your vacation?
I need to like detox from the amount of butter and like heavy cream and alcohol that I've consumed in 7 days. Like it's just nothing but like, I'm going to eat more now. Like it's like it's really insane the amount of food. Like if anyone's hungry when they leave that, like they just did it wrong. They did it wrong. They really missed the mark. You know, it's not my form of vacationing necessarily, but it really is a lot of fun. And if you know how to do it right and you're led right by the right, person that's helping you along with that, why can't I think of the right word?
Travel agent?
Thank you. Bingo. Can you tell I don't travel that often because I can't even remember, I don't even know who to call.
Right.
But no, the Texas Country Music Cruise aboard the Royal Caribbean is a blast, and it's a great group to join. So if you look up Cari Hudson somewhere and you'll find it, and go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
I just can't bring my wife wants to go on one, and I can't think of anything more that I don't want to do.
I feel like you'd be surprised, and I think it all comes down to which one.
Okay.
So on another date we can talk about that. I'll tell you the ones to stay away from. But I don't want to get the
Titanic.
That one for sure. You know how many people talk about that while you're like waiting to get on board the ship?
I don't
like,
understand.
The Titanic. I'm like, can you stop, please?
Yeah, we're going out in the middle of the ocean, and
my daughter had actually read. She reads these I Survived books. That's how I can tell she's my daughter, because she loves those books. Like I watch way too much Dateline, but like. And my major fear is home invasion, so like I don't do myself any favors.
Which same for my wife. I go, I don't understand why you think like this.
Yeah, I relax and watch like stories about murder. That seems balanced.
That's healthy, Cari. That's really healthy.
I can't explain it. Yeah, well, that's me.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Man, just I just want to say thank you.
No, thanks you.
Thanks for giving a shit and inviting me. And thank you for the art that you bring into the world too.
Oh.
And I just want to tell anybody watching, like, thanks for supporting live music, and thanks for just being those people that we get up for, because you're out there, and I wonder every day when I try to write a song, like, who's listening. So if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah, that's an awesome feeling. Are you on Spotify and all the good stuff? Okay.
You wouldn't really necessarily tell about my monthly listenership.
But, just you take that amount of people who've listened and you put that in a room.
Yeah.
And you just look at it that way. And that's
a
lot of people.
And I've never put any money into it, so I don't have any bot listeners.
Yeah, don't.
Those are all real people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only like 240 of them, but they're mine. And I don't, and I notice that every time we put out a single, it shoots up and then it'll fall away.
Sure.
So it's fallen now again, but I'm here for it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
And plus, it's better to see you perform live. So
that's my feeling.
Yep.
Get into the room.
All right. Well, Cari, thank you again, and thank you, listeners, viewers, and all right. See you soon.
I hope so.
All right.
Thank you.